Hello and welcome back to another How To Bloke. Today's Saturday. I haven't got much to do today. I've got to do a few bits and pieces, so I thought, being as I've got a spare hour or two, I thought I'd show you how to make apple sauce, homemade apple sauce with real apples. Look. Now, this is going to be, say, a recipe for, say, 4 portions, 5 portions, 6 portions, depending on how much you like apple sauce. What you're going to need is some apples like that. Any old apples will do. They can even be a little bit bruised, you know, a little bit tatty, because you're not going to, you're not worried too much about that. You're going to need some vinegar. Now, interesting enough, you probably find that cider vinegar is good anyway, but it's going to go perfect with this cider vinegar. And some sugar. Now, I always use brown sugar for this, soft brown sugar. I'll show you what that looks like. Soft brown sugar. It's not easy to find these days, you know, in the supermarkets. Looks like that. So not granulated, it's soft. You can actually squeeze it into shapes, kind of thing. It's good on porridge and stuff like that. But now, if you use that, what's going to happen is the sauce is going to look brown, which is not always what you want, because people think, oh, I'm not eating that, it's too, it looks like apple's gone brown, you know. So people don't like the look of it. The taste is much better than the white sugar. Have I made it with sweetener, you know, powdered sweet? I have never made it with sweetener. I never, ever. Must do that sometime. But anyway, today I'm going to make it with ordinary granulated sugar, some vinegar. If you haven't got any cider vinegar, don't worry too much about it. You can put some white wine vinegar in there, any old sort of vinegar really. And that's all you need. And you need a pan like this, and a little bit of water. Now, what we're going to do here, you probably know that apples, they can go brown quite quickly. They oxidize, and so to stop that happening, what you need to do is to get them in the pan cooking quickly. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in this pan here. We're going to put in, say, I don't know, half a cup of water. I don't know, this is how big the glass is, right? So that's how big it is. So we're going to put in that much water in there, cold water, like this, and we're going to whack it in the pan now. Now, the reason being we're going to do this, we're going to put this on the heat, and we're going to start to boil it. So the reason is we want to get that apple cut and in there straight away, without any delay, without it hanging about here, you know, cut and it going brown and everything, because it going brown, it won't affect the taste much, you know, tastes much the same, but it's the appearance. People go, oh no, don't like that, it looks brown, look, you know. So it's all about the presentation. So this is the things on max now. It's going to boil up very soon, so we're going to cut this apple. Now, question is, should you peel this apple? Yes and no. You don't have to. Wash them for sure, because you don't know where. I haven't washed these actually. Wash them for sure, because you don't know who's been touching them. But they dropped on the floor, roll along the floor or something. Especially this one's got a bruise in it, so you don't know what happened there. So always wash them. Peel them. I've never peeled mine. You can if you want. To be ultra neat, but you know, there's a lot of goodness in the skin. So keep the goodness in. That's what I'd say. Don't get rid of it. But we will take out the core, and this is how we do it. So we'll just take the stalk out. You don't have to, but just take the stalk out, slit it down like that, cut it down like this, and go in with a knife like that to take the core out. So that's what you're left with. Look. You see? Now what you do, so there's no core in there at all. Maybe a bit there, but... So what you need to do is just cut it like that. Cut it like that. So in little cubes like that, little chunks. And put it in the water. Do the same again with this one. So. What sort of apples you use? Well, people say that, you know, the red ones are red, are best, sweeter, Well, okay, all right, they might be, but you know, you're making sauce here, so you don't want to buy super duper dessert apples that are made really for eating as is, because you're going to make a sauce with them, so there's no point. So buy an apple that's tasty, good value. Bramley apples, you know, the ones that are cooking apples, maybe you want to try those. They're just as good. I tend to think they're a little bit on the sour side for apple sauce, but you can always add some more sugar to it, so there's no worries. As I say, the colour of the apple really is not such a big thing. It's a presentation, what it looks like after you've cooked it. So this is quite fast, isn't it? It doesn't take very long at all. And then when you serve up your, it doesn't have to be at Christmas time, don't forget. When you serve up your roast dinner or chicken or turkey or whatever, you can say, hey, you know, or you can say, if you go into a little do, you can say, right, I'll bring the apple sauce, and you can make it yourself and say, whoa. And people around the table will say, oh, look, you've made this apple sauce is delicious. And you can say, yeah, I got a recipe off this bloke on the internet. And right, is this bit here where the apple's been hit the deck, and it's got a bit of brown? Just cut it off. Let's cut it off a little bit. Cut all of it off until it's gone. Okay, and get rid of that core in there again. So we've got that. Now peeling them, yeah, of course you can peel them if you want to, you know, but what's the point? There's no point. Keep it rustic, tasty. Keep the flavour and the goodness in the pot. Okay, right, so nearly there. Third one. As I say, 3 apples will serve quite well. Say easily for 4 people anyway. Easily for 4 people, unless you're like you're an apple sauce aholic and you like apple sauce. So little cubes like that. It's probably not a good job to give to a young child because of the knife. But certainly a teenager could do this, so they can make their own charge of the apple sauce kind of thing. Right, nearly there. This is the apple number 3. So the reason we cut it up into small chunks like that, because it cooks quickly and it's easier to mash. So that's why we do it. So you see me do there 3 apples there. Doesn't take too long. If you want more apple sauce, just peel some more apples. Right, okay, so camera lady person, could you just zoom in there? So there's our apples boiling away quite nicely. Well, how long does these take to simmer? Well, good question. I would say half an hour, but I'll simmer on half an hour. They're boiling at the moment, so just turn them down to a simmer and get a lid. You need a lid for this. You can't do it with that. Well, you can do it without a lid, but it's easier with a lid. Right, before we put the lid on there, we're going to cook these until they're soft. Okay, so they're absolutely soft. So you can't. They're hard now. You can pick it up like that. So we're going to come back when you can't pick them up anymore. Okay. So now before we leave this to simmer, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of vinegar, like that. Tablespoon of that. And as I say, any old vinegar will do really. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. Don't put too much in to start with, because you can adjust it. You're going to taste it later on. And if you could put too much sugar in now, like if you put in a huge one like that, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have loads of vinegar, and you'll be here tasting it until it takes a long time. So just put a level teaspoon in like that. And then when it's cooked through, when it's simmered through, then we can go and test it and test it for sweetness and sourness. Now you're saying, well, my grandmother, she used to put in cinnamon, and she used to put in nutmeg, and that sort of thing. Yeah, sure you can. Of course you can. But this recipe, I found, is good as it is. That's good. Apple sauce. You taste you got the apples. You taste the apples. Apples. A little bit sweet, a little bit tangy. You know, it's perfect. If you want to make some, you want to put a cinnamon stick in there or something, or a bit of cinnamon powder, or a little bit of ground nutmeg. Sure, go ahead. But I mean, the nutmeg brings out the kind of Christmassy fragrance, flavour, you know, associated with that. So that might be a good thing. But if you're going to have bread sauce, that should have a bit of nutmeg in it. So you're going to have that tasting of nutmeg, and your bread sauce tasting of nutmeg. So maybe not. So maybe the cinnamon. Anyway, I'll stop yakking on now. I'm going to put this on simmer for half an hour. Turn it right down low, put it on simmer, put a top on it, and we'll be back when that's simmered out. Until then, back in a moment. Hello, welcome back. It's been nearly half an hour, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, 7 minutes ago. I just had a look. Now, come over here, camera lady person. Right, so we've been simmering this on a low heat with a lid on. Got to have a lid. And that's what it looks like that, you see. Now, the apple's cooked. Look, it falls off the knife like that. So you know it's cooked. It goes straight through. So what you're going to do with it now is you're going to mash it. You're going to smash it. Now what you could do is, rather than mash it, you could be really super good and put this lot in a liquidizer, or what do you call it? Something to a food blender or something. But it's no point. Give it rustic. Follow the sort of simple food kind of thing. You know, it doesn't have to be 5-star restaurant quality. Okay, so we're going to mash this up now. Look, this is a potato masher, and it's not potatoes, it's apples. Don't forget, these apples have got no cores in them, no pips, and skin only. And as I said to you before, if you want an ultra smooth, silky applesauce, you don't like it kind of rustic style like this, then you have to peel the apple. As simple as that. But make sure you cook it quickly, because the more acidic the apple, the quicker it will oxidise and go brown. So, look, this is what we've made today. Let me show you what it's like. Look, it's not bad, eh? Not bad. Now we've got to taste it now. Right, it's going to be a bit hot, so careful. You see how all the water's gone that I put in before? So there's no need to sort of evaporated or been absorbed in the mashing. And when this cools down as well, you don't have to serve apple sauce really super hot. Just serve it warm. You know, even cold, with cold meats the next day if you want to do that. So it doesn't have to be super hot when you serve it. Okay, because the meat's hot, the gravy, well, not the gravy's hot for sure. The vegetables are hot. So we're going to try this now. So. Now, is it too sweet or is it too sour? Let me go on again. If you're going to taste food, by the way, always use another spoon, because what happens is if you put that spoon in there, you're putting your germs from your mouth back in there. So always be polite and use a new spoon. So let me sample again. I couldn't quite get it. That's perfect. It's a little bit on the tart side. Can't taste the vinegar, you can't taste the sugar, it's not immediate. No, it's not obvious. That's perfect. So, the first thing what you need to do is, when you put the vinegar in the sugar, go easy on the sugar to start with, because you can always add a little bit afterwards, like now, if it's too vinegary. You can't taste the vinegar note, you can't taste the sugar note, the whole thing, the whole other thing, this ensemble is really good as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my recipe. What you can do now, you get a nice pot, and you just, and I put it in the pot like this, just like that. Okay. Now you might want to have, if it's a big table, you might have 2 pots of this. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you'll get. Can you pass some applesauce, please? Can you pass the applesauce? Can you pass the applesauce, please? Can you? So 2 pots, one at either end. Get a nice spoon. I haven't got a nice spoon. I've only got kitchen spoons. So get a nice spoon to go with that. And there you have it. That's my applesauce ready. Applesauce recipe. Rustic, simple, isn't it, to do? Knock it up. As I say, if you don't like the skin, then peel them. There's no problem with it. But if you like it rustic, styling like that, then go for it. Anyway, until next time, I've got some more recipes up here. I've got some quick tips up here. I've got some DIY jobbies down here. And if you want to subscribe to this channel, it's there. So until next time.